Wiradjuri Kamaru Gumbiana. That's g'day and welcome in the twin languages of the Sydney language and my own people, the Wiradjuri people.
Even from the very early days of the colonial settlement here, people were interested in language and in culture, and records were made. And many of those records have found their way into the collections of this great library. This symposium is a way in which we can start to make an even bigger contribution.
Part of the purpose of this project is to make all this stuff available, not just the researchers, but to the people whose heritage it is. There are many resources out there which can be rediscovered and add to the all too meagre documentation of many Australian languages. We need to go back to archives and specialist libraries and harvest new documentation.
This language symposium and the State Library's Rediscovering Language project is an example of connecting with projects that are happening outside, and I think that's really wonderful for libraries to be engaged critically in programs at a community level.
There's a rich historical collection of materials out there, and the issue for State Library or any other collecting institution, how do you help community find those hidden gems?
We thought there wasn't a lot of documentation, and what we wound up with learning was there's actually 275 years of documentation. All we had to do was go look. Really what we're engaged in is identity formation, and we're finding now as we begin to really look at assessment, both in terms of graduation rates and just simple life success, that when youth are tied to their language and culture, they simply succeed better at life. And if you want healthy communities, they've got to have their languages and cultures intact.
For me, language is knowledge, and nobody can own language. Everybody must be allowed to have the same knowledge and make use of it as best they can.
The loss of language is more severe than the loss of land. Aboriginal language death in Australia is by and large the result of linguicide. So if you're a Pidginjara, it's actually easier for you to prove native title because you speak your language, so you prove continuity very easily, whereas if you lost your language along the coast in the south, it's much harder for you to prove continuity.
Since 1987, the Māori language has been an official language of Aotearoa New Zealand, and the National Library is one of the agencies working to assist the resurgence of the language. In essence, our work is about connecting our Māori collections with communities, and it's been great to see the familiar resonances already in the symposium this morning.
This presentation is aptly named Repurpose because much of our work is about how to use our historical resources to co-create with community new language knowledge. So rather than our content and collections being about preserving knowledge, we're using it to maintain and revive Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander languages.
Library collections, which were once locked up in individual library buildings, are now very often discoverable via a single click of the mouse. By working collaboratively and using digital technologies, cultural institutions and Indigenous communities are achieving greatness when it comes to the revitalisation of Indigenous culture and knowledge.
Technology won't save or revive language or cultures, but empowering local experts to take control and use and manage the resources and collecting institutions is something that gets us along that path.
For those languages that are yet to be reclaimed, access to the records is an absolutely urgent priority. And whoever you are, wherever you are, identify your local languages, promote your local languages, learn your local languages, speak them, and if you can, possibly teach them. No matter who you are, whether or not you're a librarian, archivist, or anyone. Just do language stuff.
The Hidden Gems Symposium was part of the wider initiative of the Rediscovering Indigenous Languages project. To find out more about our Indigenous collections and the Language project, please visit our website at indigenous.sl.nsw.gov.au.